When you're working the Gymball, one of the main things you're going to be doing is actually lying on top of it. This exercise here is our sit-ups, and it's going to predominantly work your abdominals. But the beauty of using the Gymball is because you create an unstable environment, you're going to find that you'll actually be using lots more muscles at the same time rather than just the main muscle groups. So with this exercise, not only are you going to work your abdominals, but you'll be using your buttocks and your hamstrings and also your obliques. What you're aiming to do is keep the movement nice and smooth. Just go freely from up and down, breathing all the time. Try to avoid holding your breath. In between each exercise, it's absolutely fine just to take a little break, just to realign your body and set yourself up for the next movement. This exercise is called the hip lift. It is a brilliant exercise for working the muscles in your buttocks, but it's also going to work the muscles in your lower back and your hamstrings. If you look, you can see that the feet are flat on the floor and we've got the ball resting between our shoulders. Our objective when we lift our hips up is to try and get a straight line from our knees to our hips and our shoulders. Notice that we don't actually need to go all the way down to the floor. You'll really start to feel this working towards the end of your repetitions. So whether you're doing 10, 15 or 20 reps, just try and keep the quality of movement nice and high all of the time. And again, whenever you've worked some muscles, it's a good idea just to give them a little break, maybe mobilize those joints again and prepare yourself ready for the next exercise. With the Gymball, it's very easy to recruit more muscles by just slightly adjusting your body position. So here we've adapted our sit-up by extending our arms behind our head. Now what this does is this shifts the weight further up away from our center of gravity. And that means we're really going to feel it in the upper abdominals. Notice how we try to keep our feet still and our knees pointing straight ahead. This means that we're really going to be isolating the muscles in those abdominals and getting a great workout for them. A good idea is to make sure that you can't see your arms. If you find your arms just creeping into your vision, probably means that you're throwing them forward and that you need to keep them extended back behind your ears a little bit more. Don't forget, this exercise works in both directions. So not only do you focus when you lift up, but you make sure you lower yourself down with lots of control. Have a little stretch in between each one, so that we're going to stretch our shoulders and also going to stretch our chest. The great thing about the Gymball is you can quickly move from each exercise into the next one. So here we're going to progress our hip lift by taking our weight up onto our heels. Now, by lifting our heels up, what we do is instead of predominantly focusing on the buttocks, we also bring in a lot more of our hamstring muscles. Now that's the muscles down the back of our thigh, and that's an area that a lot of people really want to focus on. Notice that we're going for the same aim in that we're lifting up so that we get a straight line from our knee to our hip to our shoulder. Now the Gymball isn't just about abdominals, we can also do some great upper body exercises with it. So here we have a press up. Now with the press up, you can actually do a full body position, which basically means that instead of being down on your knees, you'd be up on your toes. But doing a press up with the ball actually adds quite a lot more challenge. So for a lot of people, you want to work for quite a long time on these knee press ups before you actually go for the full body length version. You can see that the ball's actually moving around. Now that's perfectly okay. That's actually what's supposed to happen, because what's going on is your body is making tiny little adjustments and firing muscle activity to keep you nice and still. It's lots of fun, really enjoy it. With this lunge exercise, what we're actually going to do is give ourselves a little bit of balance and then set up a slightly unstable environment. So to begin with, we just have our fingertips on top of the ball, and then once we get comfortable with the rhythm of the lunge, we can actually start to press down on the surface of the ball. Now this is going to actually engage some more muscles going down through your abdominals. Have a little look at your feet. What we're aiming to do is make sure that that front knee doesn't go in front of your toes. Don't forget, whenever you do one side, you've got to remember to do the other. So as you can see here, maybe a little more clearly, we're actually trying to put pressure against the top of that ball. Now that's going to set up a chain reaction. It means that not only are we working our legs, but we're also going to be working our upper body to make this a really great exercise. Now, with the Gymball working the abdominals so well, it's important that we get some balance, and that means that we have to work the muscles in our lower back as well. This exercise here is a great example of a back exercise. Now what you'll find is you may need to gradually progress the height that you can actually lift. Now that's going to happen as you develop more mobility in your lower back. What you can see us doing is we've got our hands at the side of our head. Now the only reason for that is because it means that we've got a little bit more resistance to work against. If that's too difficult, just place your fingertips on the ball and then you can use your hands just a little bit. All this wobbling around that you get from the ball is perfectly natural. That is normal. We expect that to happen. What we're trying to do is keep control. So all of that wobbling is actually adding to the challenge, and the way we stop it is by engaging muscles. Now this exercise takes us back to the abdominals, and it's really interesting because some exercises work whilst we're doing movement, and some exercises actually benefit us from trying to hold them still. Now the plank is a classic example. And what we're doing is we're going in and out of the position. You can see that we've got our elbows pushed into the ball and our hands linked together. And the actual exercise takes place when we lift our knees from the ground and hold ourselves in the upright position. Now in that upright position, what you're looking for is a straight line from your shoulder to your hip to your knee down through your ankle. Now if you've got that, it's excellent. What you'll also want to try and do is keep your chest lifted up off of the ball. A good way of working that out is to see that you've got approximately 90 degrees at your elbow. It's quite challenging and all of the wobbling is perfectly natural. That's why we do this on the ball. Having worked those abdominals, it's a good idea just to give them a little stretch so that they're ready for our next exercise. This next exercise is called a Russian twist, and it's a combination of a bridge and a sit-up. What we need to do is get ourselves into a good start position. Now what you can see is our knees are at 90 degrees and our feet are flat on the floor. We're looking for a really good straight line from the knee to the hip to the shoulder. Once you've got that straight line, you need to ensure that you're resting your body weight just on the back of your shoulder blades, so that when you rotate, one shoulder lifts up off of the ball. Now it's perfectly okay to have some movement in the knees, and you may find that your feet rock from side to side. What we're aiming to do is keep those hips nice and high and rotate smoothly. The main benefit of using a Gymball is that when we rest our body on it, our body has to react because the ball wants to move. With this exercise here, which is the arm extension, we're actually working our abdominals, our shoulders, the muscles in our upper back, right the way down through our buttocks and our hamstrings. So even though there's only one small part of our body that's actually moving, we're getting an awful lot more exercise than we think. If you look at the head, we've got a nice alignment going through the neck. So we've got a straight neck going down through our spine to our hips. You just want to keep your hands flat on the floor and your toes in contact with the ground at all times. Now, don't be surprised if you get a lot of wobbling going on with this exercise. It's a really good exercise and it's working our buttocks. What we have to do is hold the ball in close to us, and then we extend one leg back behind us. Now you'll find that your butt cheeks are working really hard, but your abdominals are also working a lot, because what happens is the ball wants to move, your abdominals engage, and your buttocks engage at the same time. So it's a tough exercise, and don't be surprised if you get all of this wobbling going on. That's actually part of the exercise. Keep it smooth. There's a temptation to go faster, but you want to avoid that, because what will actually happen is you'll lose a lot of the intensity in the muscle. As we know, the Gymball is one of the best ways of working the abdominals. So here's another exercise that's going to work not just your abdominal wall, but also the muscles going down through your waist, which are called the oblique muscles. What you have to do is start with a sit-up, and then when you get about halfway through your sit-up, you start to rotate. So you can see that one arm, one elbow, is coming across the center line of the body. Now, if you're doing this right, you're going to be able to keep your feet still and flat on the floor. You want to be sitting right on top of the ball when you do this. Try not to go too fast. The exercise is working in both directions, so not only when we lift up, but also when we lower ourselves back down. It's amazing how using a Gymball can increase the effectiveness of your squats. What we're doing here is actually holding the ball in our hands. Maybe what you can't see is that we're squeezing the ball really hard between those hands. Now what that does is set up a chain reaction. It means that our muscles in our chest are going to activate, and also the muscles in our abdominals are going to activate as well. And that means that we're going to be getting a really great workout from doing a very simple exercise. We're trying to keep our heels down on the floor, our knees pointing straight ahead, and we want to try to go around about no deeper than 90 degrees in that squat. As you lift the ball up, keep looking straight ahead, and at all times just think about what your abdominals are doing. You don't necessarily want to pull them in, but you want to make sure that you're working with your abdominals when you do these squats.